Hello everyone and welcome into the channel. My name is Brent. Today we're going to be covering the SoFi Investing Challenge Week 30 Tiny Deposits Real Growth Full Transparency. The challenge behind this series has been to deposit $25 every single week regardless of market ups, market downs, with our goal of hitting $1,000 from May to December of 2025. We are just 4 or 5 weeks away from the end of 2025, and we'll hopefully be hitting our goal sooner versus later if we had just deposited our $25 towards a high yield savings account. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and cover the past week performance in the market, taking a look at the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq. Take a look at the entire S&P 500 overall, individual holdings within the S&P. As you can kind of see behind the title here, it is very green this past week. And then we'll be diving into our portfolio, checking out the performance over the last week and seeing just how close we are to completing this challenge. So with that said, if you guys are brand new here, definitely go down below, give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like, and let's go ahead and get into the video. So taking a look at this past week's performance between the 24th and 28th of November 2025, it was an amazing rally. After 3 weeks of the market bleeding off negative, we finally got a green. Now, is this good or is it bad or is it kind of mixed? No, it was a very, very positive week. The S&P 500 put on a gain of 4.73%. Exceeding that, we had the Nasdaq in the orange here up 5.73%. We'll talk a little bit as to why the Nasdaq blew the S&P and the Dow Jones out of the water here. And the Dow Jones here at 4.17, right? That bounce was wild off those bottoms. I don't know if, we kind of saw the upkick as of Thursday when the Fed member came out and kind of hyped up that, yes, we're going to be doing a rate cut in December. And we saw the odds of a rate cut go from 30s to 70s to, I believe they're between 70, 80% right now. So as stated, we have increased rate cut bets. Optimism grew regarding the U.S. Federal Reserve interest cut in December. Comments from the top New York Fed official and along with other economic data, including initial job loss claims and consumer sentiment reports, supported that there will be an additional rate cut here in December of around 0.25%. So that is very stock market positive, right? As liquidity or cash becomes cheaper to borrow, debt becomes cheaper to finance and expand into AI and other areas of growth, then that is just overall stock market positive. We also had positive economic data in earnings. We saw a lot of companies report earnings forecasting a better than expected economy. Also during Black Friday, I saw a couple reports out there that consumer spending during the Black Friday holiday was up over last year's same time frame. So people are out there, they're buying more. And then holiday season optimism, right? As we approach the holidays, we had Thanksgiving last week, so happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And now we have the Santa Claus rally right here. We have the snowman taking place, so everyone's kind of pumped with the stock market entering the pre-holidays rally before Thanksgiving. And then essentially we had market close on Thursday last week, and then we had a half day on Friday. Now, that's going to continue to go through into December, right, with Christmas being off. And generally, there's a lot more people taking holidays during this time frame and not in the market as in the thick of it. So there's going to be a lot less frequency of buying and selling, and it's just going to go ahead and just, if we don't have any negative news, that's stock market positive. So we did see the fear meter here in the last week. It was a 11. Moving into this week, we are still in the extreme fear, but we are up from an 11 to 24, and our VIX meter went down from a 23.43 to a 16.35%. That's down 35% over last week's same rating. So we're very much moving out of the area where, hey, we have this AI, we're spending a whole lot of money on it. If the Fed isn't cutting rates, it's going to become really expensive to try and finance. That's going to slow down the AI boom. And if without this AI boom, people aren't spending in this area, that could drive things to a halt, right? When people stop spending money and start looking at it more defensive, that often causes stocks to become more defensive. The stock market falls, and that can lead into a recession in itself. So overall, everything is pretty green and positive out there as far as optimism in the market going into December. Last week, we saw essentially everything across the board outside of a few big names. We had Oracle still down 4.15% last week. Nvidia also down 2.02%. We talked a little bit about the 6 individual companies last week. I believe we talked about Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Google, Meta. I don't know if I talked about Tesla, but I know we talked about at least 6 companies last week, and we took a look. I bought quite a bit of Meta within the 600, or was it $600? But I know I'm positive in the position as of this past week, moving upwards. And we're mostly invested into VU within our SoFi account and our other accounts as well. Something that tracks the S&P 500. So overall, the S&P 500, as you saw, put on a gain of over 4%. That was very interesting. We saw across the board, every single sector was very green. So if you guys lost money last week, you might want to reconsider what are you invested in, right? Even Bitcoin popped from around 78,000 back up to over 90,000 by week's end. So hopefully it continues moving up from there. I've seen a lot of individuals out there believing that Bitcoin could continue falling down into the 72 and even below that range. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the market? Do you think we'll continue to trend higher? Do you think we'll continue to trend lower? Let me know. I put out a poll every single Saturday asking you guys in the chat or in the subscribers and viewers, what do you think the market's going to be doing this week? Do you think it's going to be going higher? Do you think it's going to be lower? Do you think it's going to stay flat, moving up and down less than 8%? Go ahead and head over to my post and drop your decision in there. And yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and chat about if you guys have not started your own investing journey, you guys can get started with SoFi with just $25. You deposit $25, you get $25 bonus. If you have $1,000, I would suggest checking out Public. Public had a promotion where you deposit $1,000, you would get $100 for that deposit as well. There's other ones out there as well: Robinhood, Webull, Moomoo. Whatever platform is your favorite, definitely check it out and get started today, as investing is definitely well recommended for your future. Now, our week 30 progress update, as far as our investment goes here, our base investment moved up $25. That was just from our deposit. Again, every single Monday, we deposit $25 into the market and invest it right away, regardless of the market is moving higher or lower. Now, as far as our balance goes of our investment, last week, we were at $875.07. Now, this week's balance is $931.58. That is a huge swing from last week to this week, because last week we were sitting we were at 3-week lows. We had negative week, negative week, negative week. And then last week we completely rallied back up to essentially all-time highs. I believe close on Friday was at all-time highs. I know my portfolio across the board, I'm sitting very much in the green for the year to date. Week portfolio gain was a 4.7 gain. Our weekly change there, you saw that massive shift. From last week, we were down couple dozen dollars at a time. I don't know if that's how you express that, but our weekly change, we're at 41.78 cents there. So $41.78. Our total return now in this portfolio is 8.39%. Since we started this portfolio back in May 2025, up until here of end of November 2025, we put on an 8.39% return, which is really good. The S&P 500 overall has returned around 15-17% return over the past year. Now, we don't deposit our full capital all at once. Otherwise, say we deposited $1,000 up front, we would have that same return as the S&P 500. But because we dollar cost average every single week into the market, we don't get that full return, but we get to dollar cost average. We still get a good sizable return. As this portfolio hits 1,000, hit 10,000, hit $100,000, it's going to have a much more rate of return, very closer to the index that it follows, with those $25 or those $100 or those $1,000 have any less impact on the averaging in overall for the total return. Our total change between in the portfolio overall. So how much capital have we made in this since we started the investment challenge? It's returned $72.15. So you can see right down here, between capital gains and dividends that we've been paid out within this account, we've returned $72.15 during this whole challenge. This past week, we purchased 0.0412 shares of VU, and brings our total share count up to 1.48231. And progress towards our goal is actually 48%. So that's something I forgot to post there. Our other platforms, I'm going to go ahead and be starting another series talking about how we currently live out of our individual taxable account. If you don't know, I invest into SPY-I, QQQI, BTCI. These are funds that I use to cover my expenses on a month-to-month basis with help from my real estate business and my other miscellaneous incomes as well. These cover all of our, mortgage, our car payments, our credit card payments per month. So this is going to be another series coming out where here, probably end of November after wrapping up this video, I'm going to go ahead and begin working on getting a baseline for kind of beginning to showcase that. And then we'll do either weekly increments of what we're spending on, how we're paying it down, how we're I had a lot of questions overall. How do I use my Fidelity account when we have money going in? How do we have it invested? When is it getting paid out? How is it distributing to different payment functions, stuff like that? So we'll chat about that more in that specific video, but definitely subscribe and look forward to that going forward, right? If that's something you guys are interested in. So jumping down into our progress towards this goal. Now this specific challenge is going to be coming to an end here shortly. As we can see here, we're at $931.58. That means that we're 93.16% of the way towards our goal in this challenge of reaching $1,000. Now, generally, it would take us 40 weeks of depositing $25 every single week. But because we are investing this capital instead and we're getting returns of the market, right, this could be a double-edged sword where it could be just as negative as it is positive for us. But in this case, we had a very good year and have appreciated and has helped our portfolio put on and save 3 additional weeks of depositing essentially $25 in. So we'll be hitting this end of the challenge probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, just depending on market conditions. So we'll see how we'll see how this one ends, if we end up hitting that $1,000 goal before the end of year or not. So what do you guys think? Drop a comment down below. Do you think we'll hit $1,000 in this portfolio, or do you think we'll miss it by a smudge? So that is going to be it for today's video. I do appreciate everyone tuning in and hanging out. If you could, go down below, subscribe. Also, give this video a big old thumbs up. Definitely subscribe if you guys are interested in checking out how we go about our week-to-week, month-to-month basis of living out our portfolios using Fidelity, the individual account, and the credit card, because these are series that are going to be coming up in the future. So thank you all for tuning in. I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Bye-bye.